A run from Gordon, now through for Isak, onside in the area. Alexander Isak has finished at the Kop end. Isak played in by Gordon after a brilliant slaloming run.
250 million euros. For a striker who's never played Champions League football? Who's never won a league title? Madness, right? That's what most people will say. But look closer, and the story starts to twist. Because Isak isn't just any striker. He scored 21 Premier League goals last season, more than Haaland per 90. And he's smashing his XG like he doesn't believe in probability. Still sounds crazy? Maybe. But it's not just about goals. This deal, the most expensive in football history, has nothing to do with just numbers. It's a fireball of FFP chaos, politics, Saudi money, and one player caught in the middle of a $1 billion game. Here's why the Isak 250 million euro transfer could actually happen.
The news I broke in the week was that Alexander Isak has no intention to play for Newcastle United again. That's his perspective. In his mind, the Newcastle United chapter is over. And even if a deal is not done to secure his departure before the transfer window closes.
So, the real question is, who can actually afford this guy? Well, spoiler, most clubs are out before we even begin. Italy's historic giants are more known for tactical brilliance and resilience than deep financial pockets. While Juventus have lost about £670 million in the last 4 years. Milan and Inter are still recovering. Even Napoli, the best run of the bunch, aren't likely to splash £150 million. Their wage bill is smarter than Newcastle's. That says it all. So, it is a clear verdict. Isak to Serie A? Almost impossible. Now, let's move on to Bundesliga. We know Germany's financial discipline is quite famous, but it comes at a cost. Frankfurt may have extra cash from recent sales, but Isak's fee would eat 70% of their turnover. Yeah, Dortmund are Champions League finalists, yes, but their wage bill barely clears Newcastle's. They've already spent big on Joe Bellingham and Jan Koto. Bayern Munich? Here's the twist. They could afford him. They're one of the few, but they're chasing other targets like Luis Diaz. So, while Bayern have money, they're not spending it on Isak, that's for sure. So, our verdict is, only Bayern could, but they won't. This one's simple. It's PSG or no one. PSG had cut Mbappe's wages previously. They've got fresh Club World Cup income, and they're still the financial titans of France. But UEFA rules are a bit stringent. PSG are under a settlement regime that limits outrageous spending. Offloading Randall Kolo Muani could free up the space, but even then, Isak feels like a long shot. So, we think it's technically possible, but practically unlikely. When it comes to Barcelona, they are just trying to register players they already bought. They just bought Julian Alvarez for £65 million. Doubling that for Isak? No chance. So, all eyes turn to Real Madrid. They're a loaded club. Their revenue is over 1.2 billion euros. They've signed Mbappe, and they were still profitable. But they've also spent nearly 150 million pounds this summer already. Taking on another massive salary could unbalance even their books. Here's what we think. Real Madrid's top-end salary cap, as set by La Liga, would make it very tight to fit Isak. Unless one or two high earners leave or defer wages, and there's been no strong link so far. So the verdict is, Real Madrid could do it, but probably won't. England is where things get interesting. Brighton is financially clean, but they're not splurging this high. Chelsea is where it gets dramatic. Chelsea are the PSR kings. They have headroom, they have funding, but they're also under UEFA settlement and need to sell players to adjust their squad. Even so, it wouldn't be the craziest thing they've done. Arsenal was once considered a dream fit, but they're spending big on Victor Gyökeres. Plus, they've already gone past £100 million in summer transfers. They could just about manage the £50 million annual cost, but it would stretch them to the edge. Manchester City could easily afford Isak, but do they need him? Isak might not be a tactical fit. That's the real blocker. On the other hand, Manchester United is a huge brand with huge income, but also huge debt. They've spent big and still owe over £300 million in previous transfer debt. Liverpool? Now, here's the pivot. Despite spending over £300 million this window, Liverpool are surprisingly the most viable English club for Isak. How? Smart financial management, low transfer debt, surging revenues, and sellable assets. They're expected to move on to Darwin Núñez, Luis Diaz, or Harvey Elliott. That would clear space for Isak. FSG, Liverpool's owners, are historically risk-averse, but they've made exceptions for transformational players. If they see Isak as a Salah successor, they might take the jump. So, we feel that Liverpool could actually pull this off. Here's the wild card. Al Hilal, owned by the same PIF group that owns Newcastle, have bottomless wealth. If they want to sign Isak, no problem. But here's where it gets complicated. Under Premier League rules, any transfer between two PIF-owned clubs requires a fair market value. Let's rewind. When Alexander Isak joined Newcastle for £60 million from Real Sociedad, people were skeptical. He had flair, yes, but was he consistent? Fast forward to today. 50 Premier League goals in just 3 seasons. Only Haaland and Salah have scored more in that time. Now, imagine this. It's the League Cup final. Newcastle haven't touched silverware in 70 years. Isak steps up, buries the winner, and last season, 23 goals, outperforming his XG by 3.3. That's elite finishing. The world started chanting him as the best striker since Alan Shearer. So yeah, £250 million sounds wild until you realize what he brings. Youth, goals, brilliance, pressure performances, and maybe more than anything else, the aura of a great future. So, Isak isn't just a striker, he's a symbol of where modern football is headed, a talent priced like a tech startup, and a transfer saga that could reshape a club. Right now, only a handful of clubs can even dream of him, but if you look deeper, one club will take the plunge. And when they do, the football world will feel it. So, who do you think should sign Alexander Isak? Would he thrive at Liverpool? Or would Real Madrid be his destiny? Let us know in the comments below. This one's just getting started. Before you go, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more wonderful football content.